Salutations everybody, it is Maddie here today, sitting down once more to talk about Cyberpunk 2077. If you've been under a bit of a rock there with Patrick Star, you may not know this, but there was the biggest update yet that was dropped for Cyberpunk 2077, apparently fixing a lot of problems with the game, and hopefully, for many out there, making it playable so that they can dive in and see what it's all about, if this game is worth it after all this time to them. And so, today we sit down to talk about the fan response to things. Now, normally it's not my content style to crawl through Reddit and talk about what people are saying because I think that's typically very uninteresting. Plus, Reddit's a bit of a circle jerk where they're either agreeing or dunking on the same thing constantly. But I think the way that CD Projekt Red, I hate to say this, but marketed their patch and the way it's been received by fans is some changes need to be made, and overall it leads to some bad news for them because while patch 1.3 addresses things, it's the same story it's been for a while where it also breaks some things. And so we're going to be showing a lot of those bugs and glitches today, just talking about the general scenario, what CD Projekt Red said, how they delivered this patch, and sort of how they should handle their communication in the future. It seems like they were learning because they went on radio silence, but then they came out after months of being quiet and they dropped another patch with some free DLC, and it feels like they just don't want people to forget. And I'm starting to get the suspicion that they don't want people to forget, but I don't think anyone will ever forget Cyberpunk. It's just not for the best reason. What we're going to do is start off with the communication with CD Projekt Red, because when they posted the tweet for this patch, they were saying, patch 1.3 is almost here. Tune into our Red streams and find out what's new in Night City. And then they tell you when the stream starts. Can't wait? Read about some of the changes in our development insight here. To which one of the highest rated posts on Reddit said, CD Projekt Red, at this point, it's okay even if patches are bad, / don't fix some long-running issues, but for the love of God, stop marketing and hyping up these patches. Where there's no new content, many basic bugs still remain. We all know the game and engine is a mess, but devs are trying their best to work on it. It's not excusable, but it's still understandable. I thought this was well put, and it's because you could tell CD Projekt Red gets this to some extent. Listen to this clip here from a dev, Miles, who was talking about the nature of patches for the game. Just listen in because it's really important.
People don't seem to be aware how difficult it is to create patches for a game that has been already launched, right? The main idea behind making patches, of course, to improve a game and not to end up breaking it more. And how you need to imagine making fixes in a game works like is basically open heart surgery, right? You have this whole system that's been working, and you kind of need to get in and try to fix stuff around the stuff without making sure that everything else falls around it or breaks around it, and that can take a lot of time. We've had examples where things that might seem like simple fixes, they may seem like something that should be fixable in a snap, right? And then we look into it, is that these fixes suddenly, connect to so many other systems that turning one wheel somewhere else will actually cause, another clock to somewhere else fall off, right?
And get this, he's right. He's entirely correct, but here's the shitty part of it all. Because of the situation CD Projekt Red is in, no matter how right they are here, people don't want to hear excuses for why your patches take so long, and when you've decided to start talking, why there are these, I don't want to say minimal step forwards, because there have been some strides here and there, but it's not at the point it should be at. If this game in a perfect world launched in a complete state in December, I think a lot of us would have expected to be talking about expansions now. It could have been so much different. It's also very frustrating for fans like myself who have played and completed the game and are waiting for brand new content, because for a lot of folks, I think what's starting to happen is the ticking clock is sinking in. People are starting to realize just how long we're going to need to wait until this game is in a stable enough state where they can say, all right, here is your next big piece of content. We're sitting in this awkward position of like, all right, we totally get where everyone's coming from. We want to get this game fixed, but at the same time, we need some new content to play, and we're getting jackets and a new car. Okay, you totally get it, right? Like, once again, what Miles said is correct. It's 100% true how patches work, but fans aren't ready to hear that. And especially when 1.3 comes out and they're hyping it up. This is our big update, man, our biggest one yet. We've done a lot with this one. And it does fix some things, like, get this. Shout out to my buddy, Legacy Kill HD. He showed this here in his clip on Twitter, where traffic actually moves around your character. This is something that used to never happen. They'd just floor it past you and run you over. And that's sort of the sad state for the game where this is celebrated. Not that Legacy Kill is celebrating it, but people are like, oh, sweet. Yes, this works. But then you go over to Reddit. And like I said, Reddit is a bit of a circle jerk. And I mean, they were really cranking on some bugs and glitches here in this patch. So let's take a look at a couple of them. We still have cars absolutely skyrocketing into the air and falling into the water. I mean, sure, why not? I mean, this is still business as usual. We have V falling through the floor, hands still up like they're falling off their motorcycle, and their animation cannot be reset. You continue on, you see NPCs from patch 1.3 spawning everywhere, the same type, really breaking the immersion of the player here. It just continues on and on as you see this player exploring the world. There's just these dudes in green jackets everywhere. It's inescapable. It's actually kind of hilarious. This is a bug that I think people would appreciate if the game wasn't in such a sorry state. Then you see a double jump here, which sends the player all the way back and they fall to their death. That can always be a little bit frustrating. Here's another one of the highest rated posts on the subreddit, which says, literally within the first minute of patch 1.3, and we can see the vehicle spazzing out, then falling onto the map. They get out of their car and they fall onto the map. It's kind of incredible when you look at it. Even the beginning of the intro scene has a new bug now where V is just T-posing, and it continues on to even the loot, which they claimed was fixed, where you could loot the unlootable loot. Sorry for the lootception there. And in these photos, we can tell that's very much not the case. And it even goes on and on and on and on. You could scroll through this subreddit. There are still a lot of bugs and issues with the game. And I don't want to make this video into a dunk fest, but more so to get the point across that while it seems like everything's sunshine and rainbows with patch 1.3, and I absolutely want it to be that way, I have no problem saying how much I enjoy this game, right? So I want them to be in a successful position. I'm not praying that Cyberpunk burns to the ground like so many people have. But the reality is that, like many patches we've seen, it introduces a whole suite of new issues. What happens is in game development, it's like, how well can you hide certain bugs, right? How noticeable are they? And it puts CD Projekt Red in this very sticky situation because you have games like, I always think of Assassin's Creed, consistently having this problem of the game comes out, it's solid. They put a patch out and Ubisoft just breaks everything on the first patch. Always. It is like clockwork. Every single first patch they do for Assassin's Creed, I always think of breaks the game to some extent, and then they have like a recovery patch afterwards, and it's this resurgence, and I swear it's got to be intentional at this point. But the point I'm making here is that not everyone's got their eyes on other companies hyper focusing on like, where's the bugs, where's the glitches, because quite honestly, in many games, they're all over the place. It's back to that original statement of how well can you hide them, how noticeable are they, and when everyone's in there looking for them, it becomes a little bit more difficult. Now, there are some positive changes, which I already pointed out in my patch update video, but some have even been discovered by fans, like cut content has been added, which adds this optical camo, which gives you 15 seconds of invisibility. I actually thought this was really cool. I wish more games did this. I wish they added in that cut content, because there are situations like, I think of Fallout 3 where they had mods restored cut content, and that was really nice to see because it just added more weapons to the game. And I understand there's testing and compatibility issues that many general gamers just won't understand why they're there. They just look at it and say, put it back in. That's how it should make sense, right? And it doesn't. But I just like that they've actually added some cut content, and even goes into stuff like the pricing of junk. They've rebalanced some of the economy for the game, which was quite broken. They've reduced the price of clothing mods. The ammo automatically loots from bodies. So there have been genuinely good quality of life changes through this update, and that's been a consistent thing through most of the patches here. But what's happening is, as time goes on, that noise starts to creep up around every single patch and engulf it. And that's why I said in my video, and I gotta repeat it here, what they should do, go on radio silence. Like, I don't care if you had this new plan, red streams, let's hype up these patches, which you should never do, by the way, because it looks silly. Can it all, go silent, go dark, pull a full No Man's Sky, and come back when next gen is ready with the new expansion and launch them together, pull an Iki Island with Ghost of Tsushima. We saw that today and how well it's worked, right? Where people just wanted more content of a good thing. Give people time to forget about Cyberpunk, to move past it. When the wound is still there and you continuously tear the band-aid off of it, people are not going to forgive you, CD Projekt Red. I don't know how much we have to spell this out for you. That's just the reality of the internet. I'm sitting here like I've moved on to other games. I'm not going to stay hung up on Cyberpunk. Is it a disappointment on how everything ended up and how people couldn't experience the game? Yes, absolutely. But of course, and I don't mean this dismissively, there are other more important things in life. So some people haven't moved on, and that's the group you got to think of when you're making these patch videos and streams and showing them off and making it this big exciting thing. Like, no, just get rid of this whole event format. Let's move to going dark, because while I don't like No Man's Sky, I never really enjoyed it all that much. Here's the truth: is the reason it was able to bounce back is because they went quiet for a long while, and when they came back strong. And they gave it to consumers for free. And they never asked you to pay a dime as long as you own the game. And they continue to do that. And they continue to do that. They over-delivered. And that's what CD Projekt Red has to do. And I can guarantee it, they're going to ask you for money on their expansion, which I understand. I think there's a difference between making procedural content like something in No Man's Sky and making fully voice-acted RPG storylines in new areas in Cyberpunk. I get it. So I just think that they are working themselves up to a sticky situation if the bugs continue on through these patches. They're trying to hype it up. They're trying to put it behind them instead of just letting people forget for a little bit and coming back strong with this next gen update, the new expansion. Or if they say, well, hey, this new expansion's $20, and people go, wait, but look at this patch here that you hyped up. This doesn't work how it should. It's going to lead to a lot of finger pointing, and I just think it's going to end up ugly for them. Which is why I wanted to make this video more than anything, is, as I said, it's not to make it a dunk fest, but really to spotlight that stop the hype. You're talking to one of the kings of hype here. I love excitement in games. Enthusiasm in games is literally a rare thing, and it's fucking depressing because of that. I get it, right? So we want excitement, but when it's the companies trying to amp you up to be like, hey, you saw Cyberpunk was $10 at the bargain bin, and guess what? Patch 1.3 is here. It's finally here. Are you excited? Can you not wait? Check out the insight here. Stop, man. Stop. You're plugging holes on a sinking ship, man. You're not bringing a yacht. Like, what are you doing? So I just wanted to really focus on that in today's video. I know it sounds a bit ranty, and in a sense it is, but I think the community's been making some fair points, and you won't see this type of content from me frequently where we're just like, let's see what Reddit's saying. But I do think it's relevant in this case because of the way CD Projekt Red has communicated things and plans to do so in the future, which I think they should just stop. Just don't do it. So with that, what do you think about patch 1.3 if you tried it out? And of course, what do you feel about how CD Projekt Red is marketing their patches? Should they just go quiet and drop a full next-gen update? Do you think they should continue to just do patch notes? How do you feel about all this? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm looking forward to seeing your thoughts. And with that, thank you so much for checking this video out, and I'll see you guys next time. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. And a big thank you to all the patrons and members who continue to sign up. Appreciate each and every single one of you. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.